Right there outside, just lose it for 10 minutes.
Hey, Natalie.
Air
I'm
conditioning.
gonna have you hold
Yeah,
these.
we're not gonna get rid of that.
We won't do it.
No.
Hey, let me know when I'm in on my wide. The boom in my end.
Oh, no, you're not in.
You are recording though.
I know, I just hit record.
Okay. Good. As long as you know.
You got the answers there too.
I have a general idea. All right. So today I got to talk to Jack on the phone for the first time, and it was a great. He reminds me of my Uncle Jimmy, actually. It's amazing. But, we were talking to him and just letting him know what we're going to talk to you about, and then at the end of the conversation, we said, "Hey, Jack, is there anything you'd like us to ask Sting?" He said,
What?
"Is there anything you'd like us to ask Sting?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, you know, first time I met Sting was at his apartment in New York City, and I want to know why he listened to a goofball from Pittsburgh with Coke bottle glasses."
Why? You know, Jack used to be a priest, and I never thought I'd have common cause with a member of the priesthood after like education. But when I first heard him speak about his advocacy, about amnesty, about torture victims, with such evangelical passion, it galvanized me and everybody else on that tour, that the Conspiracy of Hope tour, you know, me, Bruce. And the first one was with me and Bono and U2 and Peter Gabriel. This little guy just speaking with incredible authority and passion and honesty. And it ceased to be an abstract concept, you know, that people were being imprisoned wrongfully in the world or tortured, and it became very real. He'd met these people. He'd met relatives, he'd met survivors of this process, and was just totally galvanized by the need to stamp it out in human history. You know, it's medieval. Unfortunately, it's still with us, probably more so. And so, you know, a voice like Jack's is increasingly important. We can't let this slide. You know, we become medieval, and we need to evolve. Torture's a real barometer of how civilized the society is.
If I were to ask you to give me a description of Jack, how would you describe Jack Healey?
Well, he looks pretty unassuming, you know. He looks like a priest to me. I always did. He looked like a priest with his little glasses, and he doesn't look like a rock star. Although he did sort of become a rock star on that tour. I think he too got affected by us, by the way we present ourselves in the world, you know. I think it was a two-way street. We were galvanized by him, and he was galvanized by us. He never, you know, had audiences the way we could generate audiences, and so it was a good thing for him. You see him evolving into this massiveness of that tour, how important it was. You know, personally, I'd been a member of Amnesty for a long time, but I've never really seen it working so well. He encouraged me to every time we did a press conference, I would speak about a guy who was in prison in Nepal. He was called Sitaram Maski, and he was a school teacher, and I'd been a school teacher, so I had a certain affinity with him. And I told his story, how he'd been, you know, he just basically complained about what was going on and just told the truth. He spoke the truth to authority and was punished for it. He was imprisoned and couldn't get out. I would tell this guy's story at every whistle stop, and it took about 10 minutes to tell this story. And during that tour, this man was released from prison. Now, you know, to what extent my little advocacy did that, I don't know, but it certainly made me think, wow, you know, these regimes are embarrassed by publicity. They don't like it. They don't like letter writing campaigns. They don't like the spotlight shone on their practices. It works. The whole concept of amnesty works, and so that brought it home to me. You know. But Jack encouraged me to do that.
I can tell you, I mean, I was at the Giant Stadium show, and I was a 16-year-old kid growing up in New Jersey, and it changed my life, so
Yeah.
thank you for that. I went to it because the police were playing and U2 were playing, and then there was all this stuff, and it was just an amazing thing. And, you know, the lights went on. What was it about Amnesty for you back with the Secret Policeman's Ball, back in the very beginning, that made you go, this is something I want to do?
Well, I knew of Amnesty for a long time, and I thought of it as an abstract kind of thing. What's happening somewhere else, blah blah blah. But my own country at the time, the United Kingdom was involved in all kinds of practices against the Irish, and now America. So it's not something that happens over there. The bad guys do. We do it. And Amnesty, I've always said, is one of the most civilized organizations on the planet, in the history of the planet. And we should support it. It's good work, and we need to be involved in it. And when we played to so many young people on that tour, it was so many. I mean, the membership of Amnesty increased exponentially. And we felt very proud of that. People were awoken, and light went on.
That's what it was. Moving forward, tell us the story behind the writing of your song, They Dance Alone.
Well, I visited Chile during the Pinochet regime with the police. I went armed with a lot of information about that regime. I knew what was going on. I didn't really believe in cultural boycotts at the time. I still don't. So we played in Vina del Mar. And I met some people there, and I got to hear stories of what was happening. I met the mothers of the disappeared. Las madres las madres de desaparecidos. I can't speak very good Spanish. Right? The concept of people dancing with missing loved ones, with their pictures pinned to their clothes, it's a very moving one to me. And I tend to look for metaphors all the time. If I'm going to approach a subject, a political subject, I will only approach it if I have a metaphor. I don't write propaganda or agitprop. I need a metaphor, and that was such a beautiful metaphor that would translate whether you knew anything about the situation in Chile or not. That was a very moving symbol of a wife dancing with an invisible partner, or a mother. And I wrote the song. I didn't think much would happen about it. It successfully was banned in Chile, of course. I don't think the Pinochet regime particularly appreciated it, but it did start that relationship. And then when we went back to Chile with Amnesty, again I met the mothers, and we brought them out on stage, and in the very stadium that their sons and fathers had been tortured and killed. And probably the most emotional performance of certainly my life, dwarfed by the magnitude of what had happened to them, their loss, their sense of injustice. And yet there was a healing thing. The whole Chilean audience there knew exactly what the symbolism was, knew where we were, what had happened there, who these women were, who I was, and just that symbol of dancing with them. It's very powerful.
I actually have. I found on YouTube a clip, and I wanted to ask you about it. And I thought I could show it to you.
Don't show me myself, I can't bear it.
You don't want to see it?
I never look at myself.
Okay.
But what are you going to say?
I wanted to ask you, at the end of it, you were saying the dance is dancing with the invisible partner, but at the very end of it, you actually danced with a few of them.
Yeah, I did.
You kind of completed the circle.
Yeah.
And emotionally, how did that feel for you?
Well, it wasn't long after I'd lost my own mother, and so there was a certain valency in it for me that I was dancing with somebody missing in my life too, and so it was powerful. I was there replacing a son and replacing my mother at the same time. So there was a lot of resonances there that were quite unforgettable, and all of us were affected by that.
So you really started with it full bore with the Conspiracy of Hope tour, and then you did Human Rights Now, and then you did the song They Dance Alone, and then you actually went down there for the Hug for Chile when Pinochet was finally out of office and these people were once liberated. Did it feel kind of like a result, kind of?
It gave me a great deal of affection for Chile, and I would go there and I would have this kind of family group that would come and embrace me and welcome me back. So I always felt a close affinity with it. And more recently, I went back there and I was called to the government. I said, "You have to come to the palace, the presidential palace." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what are they gonna do?" So I go there, and then the mothers are sitting in one corner, and then the president comes out and gives me a medal. I got a medal. I didn't do very much. I sang a song, but I was very appreciative that they thought I deserved something. So I got this lovely medal. It was nicked the next day in my bag, but nonetheless I got it. And I went back there last year, and the current president had heard this story, and she gave me another medal. I still have this one. I kept it. In fact, I wear it on stage, and it's on my guitar strap with a nice little gold sort of sheriff's badge. It's human rights.
Something that you take with you all the way. In the scope of music as a kind of like a vehicle for change, I mean, you kind of do it, you live it. You write songs, you play these shows. What keeps you going with doing it? I mean, there are a lot of artists that'll do one thing or two things, but you've stuck with it.
I'm not sure of the efficacy of music changing people's lives. I don't know. I think you can plant a seed in somebody's head, an idea that may bear fruit 10, 20, 30 years from now. You play the kids in their 20s, the smart kids will become the ruling elite. If you plant a seed in their minds at that point about human rights, about fairness, whatever, then perhaps it'll bear fruit. It's not an overnight thing now. I'm saying we're in a worse state now with torture than we were then. We've lost the moral high ground. We have to put it back. We simply have to put it back. I'm looking forward to that day when our countries can say, we are clean. We can't say that at the moment.
Okay. When you think, the concept of this documentary we're working on around Jack is one man makes a difference. Do you feel that Jack's one man that has made a difference?
I think Jack has made a huge difference in the world. It's person by person, and it's like an epidemic. It's this feeling that you can change things gradually, but person by person. So Jack certainly influenced me. I've influenced a few people, so he was the beginning of it. That whole energy for the idea of touring rock bands around the world. I mean, it took a great deal of vision, and a great deal of courage and foolhardiness too. I mean, it was crazy. We all bundled into this huge aeroplane and just flew around the world, and just wherever we were, we played. And, people stood up and noticed.
And how would you, if we were to say, with kids today or 21st century life now, how does one person make a difference now? I mean, it's a little different now.
Everybody can make a difference. I think the only petri dish we have for analysis is the self. You look at yourself and you say, well, what is wrong with me that reflects in the world? Because we are connected to the whole thing. What is it that's in me that's lacking that makes torture exist in the world, or unfairness, or, murder? Who knows? We all have it in our souls. We all have the potential for great good and great evil. All of us. Me, you, everybody. And I think that petri dish needs to be looked at daily. Say, how can we change in our own lives? You don't need to become Jack Healey. You just basically fix your own life. I mean, Jack had the vision and the courage to take it a step beyond that. But everybody can look at themselves and say, how am I contributing to this? Kid dies in Iraq. What's my part in this? Where's my vote going? Where's my tax money going? It's important.
It's very important stuff. When you guys got out there on the first tour, was there a moment that you can think of where you saw Jack handling something or doing something where you're just like, wow, that's...
Oh, I mean, I remember his speech about the torture victims he'd... and it's too graphic. I wouldn't want to repeat it, what he would say then. It was very graphic and very powerful. But he wasn't here. No holds barred. He was just out there telling a story. Great storyteller. He's an Irishman. And I think some of the priesthood is still with him. That evangelical spirit is still there. I admire that.
Did he kind of, when you guys all saw him out there, kind of taking it on the chin and going for it, did it kind of, you said you admired him, but did it kind of make you guys go, wow, this is something we really can do something here?
All of us took the baton up and started to talk. Started to tell stories and say this is what's happening. Nobody was dumb on that tour. Everybody got completely into the whole thing. Bruce, myself, Peter. And we still are. All of us are changed by that. I feel proud of being involved.
Last thing I would like to ask you is, what did you personally take away from your experience on that?
I mean, a great deal of memories. Some very firm, bonded friendships developed on that tour. We all shared a lot of space together. Normally a rock band travels in a little cocoon. You never see anybody else. You see the band, you see a manager and an accountant, and that little pod goes around the world. I mean, this thing we had to share planes. Me, Bruce, Peter, Yusu, and Dua basically had to share each other's space. We were living together. That was a great experience. Felt less lonely, all of us. Like, oh, I see, that's how you do it. That was a great memory. Meeting some of the victims of torture who'd survived, some of their families, some wonderful people who'd, with the strength of their character, had managed to survive this ordeal, which was inspiring, that kind of thing. It was a fantastic tour.
It's certainly something to be able to witness as a kid, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we watched that video of Peter Gabriel that night for Jack, and he was like, we get up in a plane and we just fly around the country. And when Jack was describing you, he said you were the brains of the operation. Did you feel that way?
Did you feel like you were the brains?
God help us if I was the brains of the operation. I don't know. We all had a part to play. It was great.
Do you remember anything from the tour? I mean, I never like to say favorite moments, but just anything that's like a...
Every time we landed the plane, there'd be a pillow fight with the pillars from the plane. All these bands and roadies out throwing pillars at each other. It was total mayhem. Getting off the plane, then putting our serious faces on, and going to the press conference, then getting back on the plane, another pillow fight. It was so much fun. I have a lot of memories, some of them unrepeatable. I'm sorry.
I am going to ask you two just questions about Jack through Dave, but Jack, as Dave said before, this whole thing is about one man can make a difference. Yeah. And when I had the chance to talk to Jack, and just hearing his whole history from Pittsburgh, where his mom worked in the coal mines, and you hear about how he was an advocate all the way back to Carnegie, he feels like this guy that was shaped on a mission. How do you view Jack? I mean, when you've seen him and...
I think he's one of those products of the 60s, I suppose, of that activism, that sense that, hey, it's our world, we're gonna fix it, Well, a lot of those kind of mission statements kind of went awry, but some of them actually stayed the course, and Jack being aligned with Amnesty, I think, was a very good idea. I think it gave him an infrastructure to work inside or push with or whatever. But I think that was an important ingredient. It's a wonderful organization, lots of different personalities in it, and its own political struggles. But nonetheless, I think gave Jack a sense of direction and a sense of grounding, and also the wherewithal to make a difference. Amnesty is a very, very good organization because of the people in it, and vice versa.
You're probably aware of, Jack's focus on Burma right now with Aung San Suu Kyi.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, he talks to everybody about, and it goes to one person making a difference, is raise your voice in protest. And you kind of talked about that before, like military leaders don't like to hear other people protesting. So, I mean, do you think it's important for individuals to raise their voice?
I do. I think you have to have the courage to speak the truth to power, They don't like it. Their darkness is illuminated by the truth, and we just have to stand up. You know, it's easy for me to say this in this surroundings, and we're in Las Vegas in MGM, and nobody's holding a gun to my head. So yeah, I'll be brave. It's difficult though. It's not easy in a regime like Burma to speak the truth. It's hard. So we have to respect that.
If you were going to put a call to action out to the people who are going to watch this, because I mean the point of this that we're in is we're doing this hopefully as a documentary that people watch and get inspired, that they stand up, you know. And even though I'm asking that you have to look at him, so, you know,
Collaborative effort.
what would be your call to action to people watching this video?
Well, I think simply finding out what's going on there and join a letter writing campaign. You know, you'll be advised by Amnesty what you can do, who you can write to, and what effect you can have. It's a simple thing. You just write a letter. So, this person is in prison. Please release him, or please, you know, give him a fair trial or something. It's as simple as that, and then that's the first step in the way. And you know, I think it allows you to do something small and then perhaps bigger. I mean, it's a simple thing.
Do you ever think of yourself as one man who made a difference?
No, I don't think of myself as that. I mean, I sing. I have opinions. I sometimes have the courage to express those opinions. Whether I made a difference is moot. I really don't know. But I'd like to think that I've tried. And, yeah.
That can be our wake-up
That's
call.
probably our way to go.
Anything else you want to talk about with
Is
Jack?
there anything? Yeah, that was the last thing I was going to say.
Hi, Jack. Let's see you sometime.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure.
I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sort of rambling, but
It was great.
that's what I do.
Yeah, for a second.
We have your glasses outside.
I'll get that for you real quick.
That was, yeah.
I need another makeup session with that gorgeous one.
We like that one.
Thank you, Sneak. I really appreciate it.
Bye. Shut the door.
Okay.
Get some room tone.
Let's shut the door and get some room tone.
I'm still rolling. Room tone. That should be enough.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. How much did we shoot?
Check on the cards. How much is left? There's only like 20 minutes. Yeah.
Those mine or yours?
These are mine.
You have your own.
These
Alright,
are my
gentlemen.
girlfriend's actually. I stole them on the way out doing the state of the headphones at Stella.
Thank you, guys.